Hello, and welcome to the Kosh. I am your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who have had an association with Oshkosh or the surrounding Fox Valley area. As in every week, I am super excited to be here with you. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I appreciate you out there in Kosh land. And this week, we are going a totally different direction with the show. Like, I'm super, this is going to be cool. Like, I'm pretty excited about this guest. My guest this week, his name is Michael Taylor. Michael, how you doing over there?
Doing great. I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me come on your show, and I look forward to talking to you about anything y'all want to talk about.
Oh no, man! I'm the one that's super grateful that you are here on the Kosh and giving us some time, and I think this is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm new. Like I said, I'm kind of new to Oshkosh. I'm completely in love with the city. It's probably one of my favorite cities. I've lived in 4 states, and Wisconsin, y'all win.
Yeah,
in my book, absolutely.
I can't say that I've lived a lot of other places. Basically, I lived where I was stationed for a little bit. Otherwise, I've lived in Wisconsin. I've gotten the opportunity to visit a bunch of places, but not necessarily, hunker down there for any time. So, I mean, that's cool. I'm glad to see that the Kosh is on the list of awesome places to live.
It definitely is. And, y'all beat us, being from East Tennessee, and I was born and raised in Knoxville, so y'all could probably tell my accent pretty quickly. I'm not from around these parts, but, it's so cheap to live here, and the people are so good, very hardworking class, and y'all have just the best beer I've ever had in my life.
Oh, well, you got that right. I'm not going to lie. That's just Wisconsin in general. We got options. All right. So, Michael, can you please share a little something about yourself? You started to so far. And what is your connection to the Kosh?
So my connection with the Kosh is pretty much my fiance. I met her in 2017, and I was we were filming a reel for a TV show, potential TV show. I'm still not allowed to talk about.
Bruh. That's cool. So let me just, I can't just roll over that. So there's potentially you have an opportunity to have a TV show?
Yes. I can't go too much in the detail about it. What I can say, it's about ghost hunting. And I ended up driving from New Orleans down in Louisiana all the way up to Milwaukee. And we ended up filming across several states. We stopped in Kentucky, Tennessee. We ghosted all over New Orleans, and all the way up to a place called Shaker Cigar Bar in Milwaukee. And believe it or not, that's where I met my fiance, was ghost hunting.
What?
Yeah.
First of all, you already had me at ghost hunting, because I don't know what ghost hunting could possibly be. Number 2, why would you want to hunt a ghost? I'm trying to get away from ghosts. I do not mess with things that I feel are supernatural. I'm gonna let them just go on and be in peace.
It's when it comes to ghost hunting, I think what it is there's so many things going on with Hollywood, with all these TV shows that really overhype things. And when you really, when it comes to learning about the paranormal, and it's a science, essentially. It really is a science. And if you approach it as a scientist, it's like biology or anything else that you do. For me, the paranormal has kind of affected me my whole life. Being born in East Tennessee, we grew up down the road from a Civil War battlefield.
Ooh.
And
did it feel some kind of way?
It did. And in fact, late at night, we would hear gunshots near this battlefield. It was on Campbell Station Road down in Knoxville, Tennessee. And there was a couple soldiers. It was the Battle of Farragut, Tennessee. And there was an admiral involved, and he ended up getting killed on that battlefield. I'll have to go back and read the stories, but so I've been around the paranormal my whole life.
Well, we're going to come back and dig in a little deeper on that.
Absolutely.
Because I'm fascinated with that one. That's that's not something you can talk about every day. So far, so how long have you been around the Kosh so far? How long?
So I've been here for, let's see, about 6 months now. I moved here, back in August, and it's almost April. So is that about 6 months?
And so, and you've messed around in the Wisconsin winter now. How'd that treat you?
It was brutal. This is the coldest place I've ever lived in my life.
I feel you on that. That's some problems going on in that.
Oh yeah,
winter, and this was a light winter. This wasn't even a bad winter.
No, like I had a lot of folks tell me that, and I've never driven my car on a frozen lake before. I was so terrified. I had to do it though.
But you trying to tell me you ain't been here a full year and you decided to take the car out on the ice? So you went for it.
I went for it. I'm a bit of a risk taker, and
Well, I don't even know what to say about that. I'm not against ice fishing. I'm just not going to go out there often.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I've never been out there, but it took some coaxing.
Yeah, I was scared. I didn't know this, but in Wisconsin, they want you to roll down the windows and take your seatbelt off and all that stuff in case your car goes under.
Right.
And I just bought this car in November.
Whoa.
To make it even worse.
And you took it on the ice.
Absolutely. I had to.
Man, I'm going to tell you, the craziest thing I did, and this was when I was younger in college, I used to have a Cadillac DeVille. And if you think I didn't somehow end up taking the Cadillac out on the ice, worst idea ever. Just, I don't even know. That's youthful ignorance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Youthful ignorance.
Definitely.
All right. So, Michael, are you ready for the first segment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So the first segment is what in the world is going on with? And that is where you start with the phrase, what in the world is going on with? And then you end the sentence.
Okay.
What do you got going on?
Well, it's been kind of a quiet year. I guess I'm going to have to say what in the world's going on with, that's a tough one.
So you feel everything's running smooth.
It kind of is, really. This has actually been an okay year for me. I know it's been very unfortunate for a lot of folks out there, and I really feel for you guys listening. I've been very blessed this year, actually, with my fiance and I kind of helping each other's mental health out and everything like that, and keeping each other accountable and stuff.
Okay.
So I haven't really watched the news in months, believe it or not. So I have no idea what's going on outside in the world.
Hey, you might be the smartest man in the world out there not watching the news. I'm gonna give you some credit for that.
If you got time to watch the news, you got time to read a book or work out or better your life. That's how I see it. Everyone should know what's going on. What in the world's going on with the world, with your neighbors, people you care about, with your family, what in the world's going on with, your mom, your dad, brother, sister. But, with everything going on in the world right now with COVID and everyone being affected by loss of jobs, I guess what in the world is going on with you, and how are you going to make a difference from here on out? Does that kind of make sense?
That's a different approach.
Yeah, a little
calling
different
out
approach.
people.
Yeah.
Calling the people out, saying,
like,
what's going on with y'all?
With y'all, yeah. What's going on with y'all? What are you wanting to do to make this world a better place for yourself? And how are you going to change from this pandemic? It's made me a stronger person. I've learned to cook. I've learned to, I used to hate cooking. Now I love it. I can't stop.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Me and cooking are we have become friends. I am an Instapot chef.
Yeah.
People don't understand what that is. At any given time, if you really know me, I am nice with an Instapot. There's not much I can't handle.
Oh, absolutely. That's, yeah,
Okay. Well, no, that's good. All right. I like that. That's a very different direction to take it. I think people can appreciate that. My what in the world is going on with Biden having to run everywhere. Seriously, my man, if he ain't 80, a hair off 80. Mm-hmm. And every time I see them with a video of him and he going somewhere, I feel like he's running. You the president, man.
Yeah.
You ain't got to run.
Bruh.
I mean, seriously. And I mean, I guess I appreciate the fact that he feels that sense of urgency. But, you know, I also saw a video where he tripped going up some stairs into an airplane. And I was like, no, you can't go out like that.
Wow.
If you're going to go out, let's not go out tripping up the stairs because you can't stop running. All right. So that's my what in the world is going on with Biden. Slow down. Mm-hmm. You ain't got to run everywhere. You the president. You'll get there. You got handlers to help. You know, let's try to stay healthy in a whole nother way by not busting yourself up.
We need them around for sure. Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next segment. And the next segment is word association. So I'm going to mention some words and you're going to tell me what comes to mind when I say these words. So the first word is food.
Oh, man, buffalo wings.
Buffalo
Absolutely.
wings?
I love buffalo wings. I'm obsessed with them. I'm making them myself, this year.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear food is buffalo wings.
That's it.
That's it.
So do you got a favorite place to get buffalo wings from? Is there a special buffalo sauce? I mean, because I mean, I'm wing partial myself.
Are you? Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, there's a great place here in Appleton. It's not really they do have buffalo wings, but they also have fried chicken. And I lived in Augusta, Georgia for years, and they have the best chicken in the world down there in the South.
Right.
There's a place in Appleton. I'm trying to think of the name, but they sell soul food.
Are you talking about the Cozy Corner?
Yeah, the Cozy Corner.
Yes, I've known the Cozy for some time.
I love that place.
That place is nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. It honestly makes me feel like I'm back at home. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just get that whole home feel to that place.
Like you're back in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Woo! I bet you they would like to know that because that's a lot of cred.
Oh, I know it is. It is. Like, and I'm born and raised in the South, and I've been all over, and I've eaten pretty much all over the country and the world a little bit. I've lived outside the United States too, and but yeah, the Cozy Corner is probably one of my favorite restaurants in the world.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like the Cozy myself. I haven't been there in a minute, but I'm always willing to go back and visit.
Man, you got to.
All right, next word: cocktail/beer.
Ooh, yeah, definitely beer. Like I said, Wisconsin, y'all have the best beer I ever had. So there's so much beer options here that I've never even heard of, and I'm a big beer drinker.
Beer has bloomed. I mean, back in the day, it felt like there was only a couple. You can get you some Miller, a Budweiser, a Pabst, something like that. But now you can get all these crazy flavors and.
Yeah, y'all got this thing called the Double Barrel Whiskey Barrel beer or something like that. And I'm just like, wow, that'll make you feel good after a couple glasses of that.
Where's that at?
So they have it at Bar 430, and I'm trying to think of the name of some of these restaurants here because I'm still kind of new here.
Right.
Bar 430 is my go-to.
I like that place.
I do too.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
That's a very nice setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a nice atmosphere in there. You know what they also have? Bar 430, and I haven't been there. It's not a regular go-to, but I've definitely, I've gone there. Their burger, is off the charts. That burger, whoever, and like I said, I haven't been there in a long time, but there was a gentleman back there before that used to make this burger, and he would make that thing to perfection. Whatever you wanted as far as the kind of the medium well.
Yeah.
Man, that burger, to this day, I've never forgotten about that burger.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they got so much great food. Bar 430 and Ruby Owl right here on Main Street.
Oh.
They're my go-to places.
Ruby Owl, I've learned that they have these spicy chicken wraps.
Yes, and they're super good. They have spicy salad there. I think I told you about this. Yeah, it's a buffalo salad, and it's probably one of the spiciest salads I've had in the world. Like,
Bruh.
Wait, what do you mean? Like spicy how? Like, I mean, what? See, you got me. I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Like, to say spicy and salad together kind of just feels wrong.
It does, and honestly, I didn't know how I felt about it. And then I just went in there one day and I ordered it. but it's pretty brutal. They have like buffalo wings that are in the salad,
Right.
but they use like a different type of seasoning that just intensifies it. I don't know what I think it might have. It might have ghost peppers in it. I'm not too sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty brutal, but
Like,
it's
I love heat, but anything at the point in which we go to ghost pepper level or Carolina Reaper level, I'm gonna have to take a back seat to that, because that's a heat level that no longer is pleasurable.
it's brutal, but
Yeah. Okay. Netflix.
see, so Netflix. Trying to think what shows have been on Netflix lately. I have been watching a little bit this past year. I know Hulu had Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is one of my favorite shows. I don't know if you've ever seen that or not.
Nope, never watched that, but it seems funny.
It is. You know, I really admire Charlie Day. He's the comedian involved in writing the stories for that TV show.
Okay.
I think he's got his doctorate's degree. He's a super genius, but in the show he plays this janitor. It's just kind of this slimy janitor that acts like he has no idea what anything's going on. It's a comedy, but it's one of my favorites.
Okay. Amazon.
Amazon, honestly, I've been giving them a bit of money this year for sure, especially with staying home during the COVID pandemic. I've mostly been ordering like old 80s horror films. I'm big into collecting a lot of that stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Old 80s horror films.
Oh, there's-
like what? I mean, help me out.
So I'd have to say one of my favorite classic 80s horror films would be Motel Hell. And it's kind of a comedy, but it's very entertaining. You would love Motel Hell. And then there's also Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 1 and Part 2, which Part 2 is just, I can't stop laughing every time I watch it. It's so bad, it's funny.
Oh,
Like, it just puts you in a good mood, surprisingly. Makes you feel better about your life.
so you're saying the horror flick is so bad that it just puts a smile on your face?
Oh, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Well, I won't knock it till I try it.
Right. Oh, man. There's some movies out there that are just so terrible. You're like, why would anyone make this? But I have to own it. I'm that guy.
You're that guy?
I'm that guy.
Okay, so horror collector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know. The only horror flick. I love suspense movies.
Yeah.
Suspense is where my true love is at. Things like Silence of the Lambs, Seven, things along that, Usual Suspect, those kinds of movies. I like to think.
Oh, yeah. Like, have you seen Get Out? Get Out's a great one.
Yeah,
I love Jordan Peele.
Let me tell you something. Get Out made me feel some kind of way.
Yeah, definitely.
It put me in a place, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
To me, as a black man, that might be the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, that whole movie, I didn't see that till this year, and I saw Us, which is, I guess, also another Jordan Peele film. He's remaking Candyman, which I'm super excited about.
I love the original Candyman.
Oh, man.
That was on some different. I tell you this, I ain't gonna look in no mirrors and say Candyman 3 times. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Tony Todd, he's actually coming to Chicago in April. So
Yeah.
you can actually meet him. It's at a Days of the Dead convention. I've met him before.
Okay.
And super awesome guy. He's so funny. I didn't realize it was Tony Todd until I got in the elevator with him.
Oh.
And he was wearing a hat over his face because he was going out there to do signings and take pictures at the it's like a Comic-Con for horror celebrities. So I got in the elevator and I see this big, tall man standing behind me with a hat over his head. I'm kind of like, what the heck? He's wearing a pea coat, And the elevator door opens up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's freaking Tony Todd. And he just starts laughing. He goes up in the elevator and shoots back up.
That's cool.
He's a character. I love him. Oh man,
that is one of the great classics.
yeah.
Okay. Music.
So music is very, very important to me. Being born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee, I got into guitar when I was 8 years old. So my family, I got a really rough background, childhood bringing up. I didn't know my father very well. So the only thing that I knew of my father was he loved to play music, left his guitars laying around the house, and he just kind of split. So I picked up the guitar when I was 8 years old, and I was so obsessed with punk rock and thrash metal. And I do love funk music like James Brown.
Me too. You can't go wrong with some good funk.
Oh, I know. Like I'm big into the whole Motown stuff. BB King, I'll listen to him all day. And then I'll listen to thrash metal like Slayer, Metallica, Anthrax.
You got. I don't know if I've ever heard somebody say BB King and thrash metal in the same breath.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
You know, like I'll invite people over and they'll hear like I don't know, Lady Gaga, and then next up is Mayhem, which is a black metal band. I don't know if you know much about black metal, but they started in Norwegian black metal music.
Okay.
You know, they call it satanic music, but I'm just in it for hearing the sounds of the drums and the guitar, and I'm just fascinated by all kinds of music. Like,
Okay.
I'll go from Boys in the Hood, Eazy-E,
Oh,
and then I'll mix it up with some thrash metal, black metal, doom metal.
yeah, that's a wide range.
Yeah, it is, and you know, haven't played music my whole life. I did play in some punk rock bands called U.S. Police State down in Tennessee. And I also helped out with some other bands just all over the country. And I got to open up for some of the ex-members of the Misfits. I don't know if...
Yeah, I know who the Misfits are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're famous.
Yeah, I got to
That's
open up
famous
for the former singer, Michael Graves. I know he got in some trouble this year, but I have met... I've opened up for him. Jerry Only, Doyle, I've met several times, and really great people. You know, really good people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Music, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
Military.
Okay. So military, I served about roughly 9 years in the U.S. Army. It was both on active duty and both in the National Guard. I'd have to say with the military, was probably the best part of my life. It really made me grow, and I really needed it at that time in my life because, you know, when I turned 18, graduating high school, my mom said, "Son, you're either going to go to college, you're going to go to trade school, you're going to go to the military, you're going to go to jail."
That sounds like, is there a manual for parents? Because I feel like that's a talk that a lot of parents have, you know?
Bruh.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I recommend every young person out there just to do 2 years of active duty if possible, because it really does impact you, especially for troubled youth like I was. I was getting in trouble with the law when I was a kid, believe it or not. And military, it really woke me up. You know, I had a man with a brown hat screaming at me one morning. You know?
Mr. Drill Sergeant,
Oh,
your
yeah.
mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle.
Everything. So that really, Drill Sergeant Kaye, he really woke me up and shook me to the core. And honestly, he made me a better person, made me a harder worker, you know, and straight after basic training, you know, a year later, I went to Afghanistan. I did a combat tour over there for about a year, and then learned a lot from the Afghan people, wonderful, wonderful people. Like, I wouldn't trade that experience for the world.
That's nice to hear. You know what? I don't think a lot of people understand what always happens when you're deployed, and how you have to interact with the people in the culture. And it's not, a lot of it is peacekeeping work or work to help stabilize regions.
Yeah, it really is. It's, you know, you're building connections with these folks, and you have to be respectful. I mean, it'd be like me coming in your house being rude.
Right.
You know, who would do that? I'd say, get out, you know. So it's, you know, the folks there really made me more humble, and you know, you just come back to the States and you realize, wow, how lucky we have it, you know.
Right.
For sure.
It's nice when you get to see a broader perspective of the world.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and they're just good people like us. You know, they want to get by, you know, buy food for their families, have a job, buy a house, same thing that we want and everyone wants.
Right.
So,
we're always humankind is by far have more in common than not.
right. Absolutely.
Okay. So the next segment is called the Naughty/Heroes Corner. Anything, you got someone, and what you do is you nominate. It's not a person. It could be an organization. It can be whatever you want it to be. Anybody you'd like to nominate to either one of those corners?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've been a part of that program most of my life. I got involved with that when I was probably in the second grade or third grade, roughly.
Yeah.
And it's for, youthful teenagers or, kids that just grew up in kind of like broken households, that father or mother wasn't in the picture, and single parents, they're working all the time. And if you got brothers and sisters, you don't really, you kind of learn it on your own. So life on your own. But Big Brothers Big Sisters, they're a great program, and I plan on getting involved in it again here soon. And you just get to help the youth out, and that's what they need.
Hey, I give a big shout out to Big Brothers Big Sisters. I think that's a great program. I do think you're right. Youth need, if they don't have the opportunity, and I'm not talking about necessarily that the parents are bad or anything, but people got to survive. So some people got to work. There's not always time to spend the way you want to because you're busy trying to survive and put food on the plate of your families. And, but children still need relationships with adults who care about them, guidance, the things. You need the things.
Right. And
why, if you don't mind me asking, why Big Brothers Big Sisters? Why is it so personal to you?
I would say because I had a big brother named Bill Hahnemann who really made a great impact on my life, and he was the one that persuaded me to go into the military.
Okay.
I dropped out of college twice. I was a horrible student. I barely graduated high school, and I was terrible with school. And he was an engineer. Bill Hahnemann was an engineer, and he said, "Hey, Mike, I was in the Army during the Vietnam era, and really intense guy. He's super nice, super respectful, but he kind of reminds me of Clint Eastwood from the Gran Torino a little bit."
Bruh.
That's so fantastic as a description.
Yeah, he really is. He's just really intense, and he never got married, never had kids, but he did so much for the community in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I met him, and I was this kid just full of anxiety and depression issues, and just growing up in a rough family. And he just kind of grabbed me by the shoulders, shook me up, and made me realize what the difference between where I could be with the military, and what education means and what it can do for your life. And that's something that I've learned the hard way, several times.
I'd like to give a shout out to Mike, because Mike sounds like a hell of a man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Timber.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into the topic of the week. The topic of the week every week is picked by the guests themselves. And I'm super excited about this topic of the week because I'm not quite sure that this would ever happen any other way. So the topic of the week this week is ghost hunting. So, look, Mike, I don't know nothing about ghost hunting.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I do the opposite. I ghost run. If there's a ghost, I'm running. So break it down.
So ghost hunting started for me when I was, about 7 or 8 years old. And I thought I saw a woman in my house in Knoxville, and it just really scarred me. I actually saw a child psychologist, and I talked to a doctor for a long time about it. But I saw a woman one morning, it was like probably 4 a.m., just staring at me from down the hallway. And
For real?
For real.
For real.
And
for
I
real.
thought it was a robber. So I started freaking out. As a 7-year-old kid, you start yelling for your parents. You're running. You're like, what in the world is that? And, it was a woman. And I don't know anything about that story, about why she's there, why there's energy in that house that my mom purchased. But it scarred me for most of my life, and it made me more fascinated into ghosts and the supernatural. And, like I said, I've ghost hunted 38 states now, and I'm hoping to hit all 50 in the next 10 years.
Bruh.
Wait. I got to go back to that. You ghost hunted in 38 states.
Yes. Yeah, that's
so
correct.
like you going state to state looking for ghosts.
Yes.
Man, that's deep. That's on some different.
Yeah. And honestly, what got me to go travel more into ghost hunting was in 2003, there was this old abandoned insane asylum down the road from me, from where I grew up.
Okay.
And it was abandoned. And I just remember one day my friend and I were like, hey, being kids, teenagers, 13, 12-year-old kids. Hey, man, let's go in there and just run around the asylum and see if we find anything spooky, being pesky kids.
I'm thinking the exact opposite.
Yeah. But, we ended up going in this asylum. And, it had all the hospital beds in there, and it was Lakeshore Asylum. It's torn down now, and it's now a park, but even walking there at night, you still get the creeps because there's no lights out there. It's pitch black. And but we ended up going inside that asylum. We snuck in through this little door, and we walked around, and I remember we walked out into this basketball court. It was an inside basketball court, and a basketball was slammed on the floor, and we started hearing laughing.
What?
Yes.
No.
And I thought, okay, A, this is a homeless guy messing with us, or B, we're dealing with something real. And we didn't want to wait to find out, so we ended up booking it.
Bruh.
Facts.
Yes.
I'm out of there.
Yes.
I'm with you. Look, you wouldn't even have got that far with me. We'd have never heard a ball bounce.
Yeah, it traumatized us, and we ended up booking it. And, that adrenaline rush is like going on a roller coaster. You get hooked. And there's a lot of adrenaline when it comes to ghost hunting, a lot of energy. And, a lot of it is overhyped. I'm not going to lie to you, Timber. Like a lot of the TV shows I've been invited on, I won't name them, but they're going for ratings. And I feel like with this new technology era that we have, a lot of kids are picking up cameras now saying I'm a ghost hunter. But there's a lot of science to it.
Can you break that down? Because,
Absolutely.
I think that's fascinating. So, it's bigger than just
picking up a camera and
catching something. What's the science?
So you got to know the difference between dust, asbestos, and orbs. And I've had so many people say, oh, look what I caught. And I don't want to be disrespectful because I don't want to be rude to nobody, but everyone has their own way of doing things. But to know the difference between dust, if you, just wave a blanket in front of your camera, you're going to see these little balls of light and people go, oh, look, there's orbs. And I had this lady try to tell me that she had all these orbs. I ghosted her at the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona a few years ago. And she's like, look at all these orbs are coming off the table. But the Birdcage Theater has been there for hundreds of years.
Okay.
And that place is dusty as could be. So, when it comes, even with asbestos, when you go to old homes, haunted places, like crawling around wherever, you'll see a lot of asbestos too. But when you see an orb, and this is the biggest distinction for me, you'll see it with your own eyes first, and then you'll catch it on camera. And they can come in as a blue color, green, white.
When you're saying, all right, because I'm ghost ignorant.
No, you're fine.
All right. So, what's an orb?
So an orb is a ball of light of energy that is repeating itself, whether it be a residual haunting. A residual haunting is technically someone that's energy stuck in that time period that never left. So it's kind of creepy, but you'll go to I've been to George Washington's house, childhood home.
Okay.
And, if you get to stay the night there, you'll see energy or like a ball of light or something happening at a certain time. That's why I always tell beginner ghost hunters, take notes of what time you captured it, see if you can capture it the next day to see if it's maybe the building's making noise, maybe, it's setting, or maybe there's electrical issues, HVAC issues. But yeah, that's what an orb is. It's energy that's stuck in a place that keeps repeating itself for whatever reason. And that's kind of what a ghost hunter's job is to figure out why it's doing that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to lie. I feel like there's an energy shift happening. So.
Oh, definitely. It's kind of like dealing with snakes. I'm horrified of snakes. I'm terrified of spiders. I've seen camel spiders, but ghost, I mean, doing with the paranormal, it's just another day for me. I've done it so long now.
Okay.
You know?
So when you are ghost hunting,
Mhm.
what happens when you actually run into one?
You try to film as much as you can. You know, the most haunted place I've ever been to is this place called Shaker Cigar Bar in Milwaukee. And, you know, it's owned by Bob Weiss. He's a really good friend of mine, and he's been terrific. He runs a YouTube series called Shaker Cigar Bar. I'm featured on it as well.
Okay.
And thank you. He's just a really great host and tour guide and everything. But we'll talk a little bit about Shakers because this place I captured the most activity. Like I said, I've been to Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky. I've stayed the night in several sanatoriums, prisons. I even got locked into James Earl Ray's cell. He's the man that killed Martin Luther King. And I actually played the I Have a Dream speech in his jail cell, and they locked the door of me in there and left me alone for 45 minutes. And talk about intensity.
What happened?
So I started hearing a lot of banging noises, you know, and it is an old prison. And they do make noises, especially this place was called Brushy Mountain State Prison in Tennessee. And, you know, you'd hear things chip off the ceiling. You're like, oh, is that a ghost? What is that? When it's just paint, you know, it's just due to it being so old. And I remember hearing a man's voice in that jail cell just screaming. I don't know what exactly it was saying, but it was just a yell.
Bruh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I'm feeling some kind of way.
Oh, no, and they didn't give me a flashlight, nothing. So I'm locked in James Earl Ray's cell, and I'm hearing just, you know, just this screaming, and all I see is darkness, just blackness. And I think my younger brother was outside of the jail. Like, outside was the closest anyone was to me. That's how far everybody kind of was. And I was banging on the jail cell, yelling for help.
Yeah.
You
think?
Yeah, it was like getting trapped in a cage with a lion. That's kind of how it felt. It was that intimidating.
What is it? So I know it's not just a visual thing.
Mm-hmm.
What did it feel like?
Almost like getting electrocuted. That's kind of the best way I can say, you know, for me, it affects people differently. Like, I used to be an electrician. I've been electrocuted dozens of times. And kind of like that, you just pull away, you jump back. For me, I'm one of those weirdos. I like to run towards things usually to try to document as much as possible, because with ghost hunting being so new and so mainstream now, heck, I've had people tell me, look at this great phone app. It's guaranteeing me to find a ghost sitting right here in the living room. Those phone apps, they're in it for the money.
There's seriously phone apps for that.
Yes. And half these people that I'm meeting, they don't know. They don't know, so they think it's real. So I just want to educate people.
Right.
Because, you know, with ghost hunting not being proven, like it's not proven. Everything's debatable with ghost hunting. A lot of businesses now are hopping on that boat saying, oh, well, we'll make this phone app and we'll make $20, $30 a month to guarantee you something. So that's why I'm warning people to be careful with those phone apps. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I was going to go back to Shakers. Shaker Cigar Bar is probably the most haunted place in the country, in my opinion, because, you know, it was an old brothel owned by Al Capone, and Al Capone actually threw the tombstones away, but left the bodies there underneath this old brothel. And you can stay the night there if you want. If you want to do a ghost hunt, we definitely could, Timber.
I'm going to pass.
You going to pass?
I'm going to pass. There's no way in the world. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead. No
way. That's out of bounds there.
No.
But Shakers, you know, it was this old brothel, and then serial killer / cannibal Jeffrey Dahmer used to go to this brothel when it was a bar in the 80s.
See, right there, man. See, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So you threw Scariest Place in America and Jeffrey Dahmer
all in the same place.
In the same place?
Yes.
Nah, man. No.
Bruh.
No.
Yeah, it's horrific. I mean, that place is so intense. Bob he's owned the bar since the 80s, and he met Jeff. He met Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, the guy came into his bar, he'd watched people, and Bob had to throw him out of the bar several times. You know,
Woo.
and talk about, crazy. A few months later, he's all over the news because at the time, no one knew who Jeffrey Dahmer was.
Correct.
He was just some creep coming into bars, bugging people, and Bob threw him out. And next thing you know, he's like, that's that guy I kept throwing out of my bar that was being all weird, following people around. He's all over the news. And, yeah, he actually has his chair there that Jeffrey Dahmer used to sit on, so he pulled the chair away because he thought it was bad luck. So he still has that chair.
Nah, man, why are you keeping the chair? You gotta burn the chair.
Yeah,
I mean, Jeffrey's on some different, that's
Right.
Jeffrey is infamous.
Infamous.
Right.
Yeah.
There's those killers who, you might think but that man,
Mm-hmm.
infamous.
Yeah, like talk about what the definition of evil is and mental illness. I think Dahmer had also a lot of mental health problems that, unfortunately, during those times, there was no way he could have gotten help. And, I'm speaking of mental health, I'm glad that nowadays we're getting more and more programs to help people before something like that ever happens again. And I pray it doesn't, but
Yeah. That's a whole nother level of mental health.
Yeah, like that was someone that needed to be locked up immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, and just going into that bar though, and it's about 4 stories roughly, and the basement though has so much activity going on because it used to be a cemetery.
Oh,
And
so this bar was built on top of a cemetery.
yes,
Oh my God.
yes. So there's
And
bodies
then-
under there.
Wait, so you got a bar built on a cemetery where Jeffrey Dahmer used to hang out.
Yes,
Bruh.
That's the most wrongness I've ever heard in my life in one
Yeah.
sentence.
absolutely. And it was a brothel, so there was a lot of also a brothel.
Wrong.
So talk about a horror film.
And your friend owned this.
Yes,
And he
Bob
want to
does.
keep owning this.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He's owned it he still owns it today, and that's why I recommend people all the time, take a tour, take a Shaker Cigar Bar tour if you're interested in ghost hunting, to the listeners listening to this. I've taken dozens of ghost tours. My top 2 are Spooked in Seattle, which is the Catacombs for Seattle, which we'll talk about here in a moment, and Shaker Cigar Bar, because you have everything from serial killers to deceased, I'm going to call them working women. They don't like using the term prostitute. It's called working women.
Working
And,
people.
Working people. There we go. Yeah. And I stayed the night there probably 4 times now. And the first 2 nights I'd stayed at Shakers, they locked me in there and I could not leave. And I almost jumped out of the 3rd story window out of this place. It was that
Whoa.
horrifying.
Yeah, it was that deep.
It was that deep. I can talk a little bit about it. I won't go into too much detail. That's stuff that you guys can view on the YouTube channel, and it's going to be hopefully featured here on television here in the next few months. But
Okay.
Shakers though, it really messed with me for a very long time. I don't believe spirits can follow you home. It's never happened to me since 2003 of doing it, but Shakers, something actually did follow me home, and I didn't believe in that. I really didn't. So not telling people that's going to happen to you, but if you go out there provoking and you go out there, hitting a bee's nest with a baseball bat, you're going to get stung. You know what I mean?
Bruh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just remember staying there the first night and I waited for that sun to come up and I'm looking out that window waiting for it, and they have the cameras pointing at me and stuff, and we're waiting to hear. We ended up seeing everything from apparitions. I've never seen an apparition before. I
Okay.
never have. I've seen shadow figures, and I've seen like balls of light and stuff, like orbs, and I've captured EVPs, which is electric voice phenomena.
Okay.
So it's voices from nowhere. But Shakers is the first place I actually saw an actual person vanish into thin air. And,
No.
yeah, it was crazy. There was this girl named Molly. She was a working lady during those times. She was actually murdered in this bed that I was sleeping on.
Bruh.
Yes, it was insane. So she was murdered there, and I don't want to be too graphic here, but she was thrown into the fireplace, and then the remains were hidden in the walls at Shakers.
What?
Yes. And Bob actually found her in the 80s when he was doing work on the building, and found her, deceased body, unfortunately, called the Milwaukee Police Department and said, hey, I found human remains on my roof, which absolutely spooked me. I didn't know this till recently after we filmed it there.
Bruh.
So talk about a bone-chilling place. Madison, my fiance, and I, we met there, and call it fate or destiny or whatever have you. We put her down in the basement while I was sleeping upstairs in the deceased lady's bed, and she was down there in the basement with all the deceased people from the cemetery.
What?
And we've been together ever since.
That's some new stuff.
We didn't meet online. No, I was sleeping in a dead lady's bed. She's down in a basement with all these dead bodies.
Michael, that's some different kind. And this is something that you can pay for to do.
Yes. Yeah, tours I believe are $30 or less.
How would you pay to do it? You're gonna have to pay me to do it, and you're gonna have to pay me a lot more than $30 to go sleep in an environment like that.
Right. Like you can take a tour too. You don't have to stay the night there. You can it's like an hour or two tour, worth every penny. For skeptics out there, I highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm more in the debunking business of the paranormal. I try to go into, I disprove a lot of things, but this place is it's so hot. There's just so much stuff going on there that I couldn't explain, and I tried. And believe me, I've been trying.
All right, let's give them a special shout out. What is that place called again?
It's called Shaker's Cigar Bar, and I wanted to give a shout out to Bob Weiss.
Okay, yeah. Shaker's Cigar Bar. And if there is they got a website?
They do. If you visit Shaker's Cigar Bar, you can go on Facebook, YouTube, even just on Google. You can Google that, and you can find more information about that.
Okay.
Especially for this local area, I highly recommend that.
All right. Hey, for all my fellow ghost curious individuals out there listening to the Kosh, if you go to Shaker's Cigar Bar, I would love to hear how your adventure was. We will make sure to put some information in the podcast notes about Shaker's Cigar Bar, because it seems like since it's close to the Kosh, it seems like it's an adventure waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
Not by Timber, though.
No way you wouldn't do it.
Nah, man.
Oh man, there's a bunch of places. Wisconsin's got so many ghost tours. Baraboo Inn's a great place. Get permission first, but you can go up to Ed Gein's place, where his house was, which if people don't know about that, that's a Milwaukee serial killer. I have ghost hunted for him too, and I did it legally. There's an illegal way, which I don't recommend anyone to break the law. It's just too dang expensive to pay those tickets off. Trust me.
Not that you know.
Yeah, right. Not that I know.
Wink,
but
wink.
Wink. Exactly. But yeah, just stay out of trouble. Pay for the tour. It's cheaper than a ticket. Trust me when I say that.
Fair enough. All right. What else? Anything else you would like to share about ghost hunting?
Yeah. Gosh, I could talk about ghost hunting all day. Well, I'll stick with Wisconsin, the Wisconsin area, because folks that are listening are probably curious to know where they can go check out legally, that you can go and take a ghost tour at. I highly recommend the Baraboo Inn as well. That's also another brothel owned by Al Capone. And I have stayed the night there, and we just did an investigation there last month. And that place was insane too. They actually have a pole downstairs in the basement where Al Capone's men used to tie people up and shoot them on it. And you can see the bullet rounds in the wood still.
What?
And there's actually blood stains in the wood.
They kept it.
They kept it because it's actually one of the main support beams to the building.
So they ain't got no choice.
They ain't got no choice to keep it. They have to keep it or the building's going to fall apart. And BC, he's the owner, BC Farr, really good man. He used to be a NASCAR driver, and he'll talk to you about race car driving and ghost hunting all day.
Man.
You know, but you guys can stay the night there. That's another great place. You Yeah, and then there's also some places up in Manitowoc that are really haunted. My personal favorite is it actually made it on Ripley's, believe it or not. This is the only place in the entire world in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, called Dead by Dawn, and not the video game, because they actually had the title before the video game came out, Until Dawn, but Dead by Dawn. And it's a haunted Airbnb/bar, and these people actually run their business out of it. So you can stay the night, and actors will scare you all night till 8 a.m.
Who wants that?
I know. I couldn't do it. But they're good friends of mine. But the thing is that building's actually haunted in real life. And it was built in the 1800s, and it used to be a dental office. And I've stayed the night there a couple times, and Madison and I've stayed there. We've heard everything from chairs being moved to doors opening and closing, and I've had to go chase down the hallway to try to film it, to capture it. But that's another great place, Dead by Dawn. It's super cool. And I'd have to say that another good one in Milwaukee is also the Brumder, which we're doing next month. So I haven't been there yet, but I'm looking forward to going to the Brumder Mansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, I'm surprised that Wisconsin has so many locations, but then again, I'm not surprised.
It's got so much history, from the gangsters in Chicago. John Dillinger, he's got a hideout here that I haven't had a chance to go to yet in Wisconsin that's super haunted, where he did a lot of, he had hid from the cops and had a shootout with them. And, that's next on my list. Now that the weather's warming up, I can drive all the way out there. And with COVID being hopefully going away, but it isn't going to go away, but everyone being vaccinated,
right?
Everything will open up, and then I can go out and explore more places.
That sounds...
Bruh.
I don't know what else to say about it. All right.
Yeah, I've stayed the night on 2 haunted ships. I've stayed the night in a haunted cave, the Bell's Witch Cave down in Tennessee. And I've actually stayed in the world's most haunted dam, an actual dam. And 2 floors are underwater, and you can scuba dive down there. And there's actually graves underwater you can scuba dive down to.
Yep. Nope.
You're good.
I'm good.
We can go scuba diving down there if you want, Timber.
First of all, you're crossing so many things that Timber don't do. Timber doesn't do water. Water is scary enough to me. It's massive. It's consuming. I don't mess with water.
Yeah.
I don't swim. And I don't mess with ghosts or supernatural things. I leave all that alone. I'm going to let them just be in peace. May they leave me in peace. May we all be in peace.
Absolutely.
Michael, I love this. This was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me come on here, and
this was super cool.
Yeah, you guys listening, please look up Creepshow Paranormal. That's a group I run on Facebook, and we're working on the webpage right now. And I'm working on my very first book I'm writing.
Okay, say that again. What was that? Creepshow Paranormal?
Creepshow Paranormal. Where that name came from was, being an 80s horror film lover, I love the movie, and the TV show is great too, but Creepshow, I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
Yeah, I remember Creepshow. It's got the dude that basically looks like Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I just love it because, I'm into like the cryptid stuff, like, I don't really go looking for Bigfoot or Sasquatch or the Dogman, but the Dogman's one of those urban legends around Wisconsin. But a lot of it's always fascinated me.
Okay.
But ghost, however, that's more my specialty, the paranormal, more ghost hunting stuff.
All right. Well, I'm just going to, I'll tell you what, you go ahead and film and I'll watch it, but I ain't coming with you. I'm going to leave that alone.
Bruh.
All right, this is the time where we're going to start wrapping things up. To all the Kosh listeners out there, once again, as always, please, 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 as you listen to the show, we are open to comments, suggestions. We are a work in progress. We're always growing to improve. And even if you just want to share how you feel about things, look, there's nothing better than some feedback. I appreciate the feedback, no matter what kind of feedback it is. Please send all communications to askthekosh@gmail.com. askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. I appreciate you making time to let us know how we're doing here. All right. And Michael, it's the time of the show where we give some shout outs. And this is one of my favorite parts of the show because, it's nothing better than giving some recognition to some people out there. So
definitely.
You got some shout outs?
Yeah. My fiance, Madison Schmidt, absolutely her. Everyone from the Veterans Resource Center has been great. Being new from Tennessee, coming up here, they've been really welcoming. The whole community at the UW Oshkosh has been wonderful. So shout out to everybody, you, Michelle Munns, everybody. And definitely shout out to Ross Allison. He's a ghost hunter I've been working with for a couple years now. He's been a big mentor. He runs Spooked in Seattle ghost tours, and because I lived in Seattle for a few years. And then Bob Weiss in Shakers. Go book a tour with him. He's awesome. And also go book a tour with BC Farr from the Baraboo Inn. That's another great place. So shout out to all them folks.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? If you have an email, I'm going to put it in the podcast notes.
Sure.
So if you want to reach out to Michael here and get maybe some more information, if you are an adventurous ghost hunter, we're going to help and encourage it. Don't call me, though.
We'll try to encourage you to come with and do a podcast from a haunted place one day.
Bruh.
It'll never happen.
Bruh.
All right. So my shout outs of the week goes to a couple people. Once again, I got to give a special shout out to the wife because let me tell you something. The daughter came home to spend the week with us during spring breakish time. And that is where we do recording and things in her room because she doesn't actually live here because she is an adult. Let's be clear. I am an empty nester. I have no shame in telling people this. Nonetheless, so thank you, the wife, for making things happen and allowing us to continue making podcasts even in the midst of a little bit of chaos. She makes it warm and fun and friendly. I appreciate you, baby. Love you. And to a special shout out to a gentleman, Nicholas Ambrose. I'm just gonna say thank you. I appreciate you, man. You're a good dude. Good looking out. All right. We're getting close to wrapping this all up. Parting words of wisdom. Do you got any parting words of wisdom there, Michael?
Parting words of wisdom, and I'm gonna say this because the past year and a half has been rough on everybody, but this is one thing I'm gonna leave with everybody to think about. You can break my arm, you can break my leg, but you'll never break my will. So everybody keep your will up, focus on what you want to do, and you'll get to where you're going to go.
Michael, I love that. Now, that's solid. That is solid words of wisdom. I think that is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Well, once again, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
And to all the Kosh listeners out there, till the next time, the Kosh.
Perfect.